How you doing? I'm Nathan Snow with Bay County Outdoors, and we're out here in East Bay today doing a little bit of mixed species fishing. Since we're getting close to our fall run, water temp's starting to cool off a little. There's a whole lot of different types of fish that are schooling up right now. We've got up on the grass, like we're in right now, in this fast-moving current, we've got redfish and trout, and there's Spanish mackerel and ladyfish and all kinds of stuff that's still up here on the grass. It's whenever this tide gets flowing real hard like that, that's when you're going to want to target them. On the outsides of these flats, this is a big point flat, and on either side of the flat there's going to be a deep ledge that kind of drops off, and if you can find a little bit of structure around there, some old tires or crab traps or anything like that, then the mangrove snapper have really been piling up heavy on them. Nice little, these are fat fish. They've been eating so well out here. Blend in almost perfect with the sand. We're gonna keep it nice and easy today. These mangroves are kind of finicky, so you want to use like a really good small circle hook, and some small live baits is the best thing to use for them. These elwise or some live shrimp or little pinfish, that's gonna be your best bet. Here, when you fill and keep your rod a little bit higher, and then when it pulls, just let your rod get all the way down to the water, and then let him come tight. That feels like a redfish there. Look. That's a mangrove. That is a big boy mangrove. Grover. Oh. He ain't quite gonna make it, but that's fun anyway. Have a good one, buddy. That's cool. Cool little extra bonus fish. Beast. Met my new fishing partner here. Compliments of Facebook. I got lucky and caught a big redfish and used it as my profile picture, and she saw it and was like, hey, I want to catch a redfish like that. So actually the first trip that we took was right down here a little ways, and we did some trout fishing, and we were wading through the grass, and I thought it was cool because she jumped right off the boat with no shoes and jumped in the grass and just started wading around, and So we did pretty good that day. Caught a bunch of trout and some ladyfish and a couple of redfish. And then the next time we went fishing, we went out to the bridge and ended up catching a couple of those big redfish. And we've kind of been fishing together ever since. There you go. Oh. There you go. That's a redfish. Probably. Maybe a Spanish.
Yeah, it's right behind.
Figured it out, just cast right where I cast at. That's the right kind there. Oh, man.
What?
Disaster.
No good. Not away.
Sorry though, that chum's got me fired up. Back in action. She's got a great attitude. She's always, you know, fishing is fishing. There's no guaranteed science to it, and you can't come out and crush them every day. But it's nice to hang out with somebody on the water that even when you're not catching fish, there's still pleasure to be around. They're all smiles, and they're just like me and enjoying being out here. The fish are always a bonus, even though I love catching them, and I catch quite a few of them. Fish are always bonus. Having somebody that you can just come out and have a good time with and hang out on the water and enjoy the day is great. Makes me a happy man. There he is. Nice snapper. Yeah, buddy. That is what we're out here looking to catch today. Some nice fat mangrove snappers, or gray snappers as they're called in a lot of places. We're using a little this is a number 2 owner, just light wire circle hook, and we're using some little small alewives today, which is pretty much one of their favorite foods to eat. Unfortunately, he ain't gonna make it back in the water. That's dinner. I told you, she wears me out. Oh, that's good. Don't let it go on. Go ahead and let a little line up on it. Super awesome little fish.
I've been fishing since I was little, like old enough to be on a boat probably, but with my granddad and my dad, just years and years out here. My dad's family's from Parker, so we've been out here on boats, out on docks, everywhere that I could fish. They had me on the water ever since I was little. So.
That's good. Just pull them over to me right there. See what I call them, snappers. I'll go ahead and let this one go. Guess he wasn't having no other choice. Tell you what, she'll start wearing them out so fast. The other day, I couldn't even get a rod in the water.
I couldn't even get his pole in the water.
Grab her
Just
fish.
every second.
I ended up being the net man for once. Look at that, absolutely no etiquette. Oh, she's got one now on how to share water with anybody. So we've been sitting here for probably 2 hours now, chum the area up nice, and we've been catching a bunch of fish, and they pull right up in here with the motor on and drift right up on top of us, and then want to get an attitude like, we shouldn't be here. But what you got? Oh, you got another big old Grover too. We're going to take a break, check in with our sponsors. We'll be right back.
When you only have one shot, one chance, there are only two names to remember: Browning and C&G Sporting Goods. C&G carries the full line of Browning rifles, shotguns, handguns, knives, and clothing. like the Browning X boat. Every component of the Browning X boat works together to deliver the most critical feature, total accuracy. Visit C&G Sporting Goods today because you don't want to miss that one shot.
Sunjammers and Hobie Kayaks provide the ultimate lightweight fishing platforms that will offer anyone what they need when it comes time to hit the water. Hobie Kayaks' commitment to innovation, quality, and owner satisfaction is unparalleled in the industry, and the service and selection provided by Sunjammers Watersports is top-notch. So when it's time for you to go kayak fishing, there's only two names you need to remember: Sunjammers Watersports and Hobie Kayaks. Sunjammers Watersports is located on the west end of Panama City Beach and online at sunjammers.com.
You know, when you're fishing like this, especially throwing these live baits in an area that we're fishing a little deep ledge, it's kind of got a steady slope down from about 4 foot down to about 12 or 13 feet, and it's got a bunch of scattered trash down on the bottom. And when you start live chumming with these LYs, you know, there's really never any telling what it is exactly you're going to catch. We're targeting mangrove snapper because all the little trash piles they tend to hang out on. So when we started chumming these baits, it's actually going to bring them up off of those little trash piles and up onto this little shallow sand ledge. And but you know, throughout we've caught, you know, more than our fair share of snapper today, and we've also caught a couple of little grouper. We've caught a Spanish mackerel. We've caught hardtails. We've caught, you know, just a wide variety of fish, and that's one of the things that makes this it's one of the things that makes this kind of fishing so much fun, is that, you know, you never really know. One cast you might catch a, you know, a 15-inch mangrove snapper. The next cast you might catch a 25-inch grouper, or, you know, a big school of redfish might swim through, and everybody that's got a bait in the water might end up with a, you know, a big redfish. So you know, it's just kind of one of those cool things to do, and it's really easy. It's a pretty simple equipment. We're just using 7-foot medium action spinning rods with 3,000 reels and 10-pound Power Pro 20-pound fluorocarbon leader, and just a small #1 owner circle hook. A little split shot on there. I got a 3/16 split shot just to try to get it down below some of the Spanish. Sometimes the Spanish gets so thick out here that if you throw anything and it doesn't get down to the bottom immediately, all you're going to catch is Spanish. So y'all should get out there and give it a shot. Live chumming with LYs gets them every time.
Holy crap. He is big.
That's a little nice one there. I'm on too. And of course, hers is the one on the left. It's bigger than mine, as usual. That's some good eating right there.
Come on, you guys.
You got him? Yeah, you got him.
So you're going to have to clean these, or is Nathan?
got some cool colors.
Is there a certain knot that you use when live bait fishing for those hooks?
You asking me the wrong question because I don't know the names of any knots. I tie them. I'm too busy fishing to figure out what the name of it is. It's a knot my dad showed me when I was a little kid, and I've just been tying it ever since. He always called it the fisherman's knot. He's from Guam, so that's the knot that the islanders use, and it never fails me. So slide that through there. Like 5 turns through the bottom. Come up through the top, and I actually go through the top this hole twice. I'll swing it back through if I can get this to open up for me. Come in through there again, grab hold of your tag in. Just like that. Cut off your excess, and you were not going to have any problems out of that right there.
Unless the Spanish cuts it off again.
Well, there ain't a knot in the world that's going to
Nope.
help a Spanish from chewing you up. I tie a standard uni to uni whenever I attach a leader to the braid, and then
Jumping out.
I'll hold it. That's a whole little fat fish there.
Slipped right out.
You know, we're doing a little bit of wade fishing today. As you can tell, we've got a lot of water that's rushing past us, and right now we're specifically targeting speckled trout. Whenever I target speckled trout, I like fishing on a falling tide. You know, I'll come out here about 2 hours, 3 hours into a falling tide and fish down to about, you know, maybe an hour or two before the tide runs out. Redfish, a lot of people like sight fishing redfish up on the shoreline, so I'll actually come out on like a medium tide where it's incoming, and then you can get up close to shore, and you know, as the water level rises, you can creep farther and farther up along the reed lines and along long sandy beaches and stuff like that, and you'll see these fish. They'll be schooling up, you know, 10 to 15 fish, and they'll literally be laying right up on shore. You'll see them sometimes. They'll look like a school of mullet that's just sitting there, but it'll be, you know, a bunch of redfish. But there's a lot of other kind of fish in the bay too that are also really tide oriented. This morning we started out, it was right at high tide, and it took probably about 30 minutes or so after we started fishing that the tide started falling. And as soon as that tide started falling and the water started moving, we got into a great bite on some mangrove snapper, and then, you know, there again we were catching jacks, and we were catching Spanish mackerel and all kind of things like that. Incoming tides are usually going to be a slower bite, like I said, with the exception of, you know, fishing for redfish up along the shoreline. That's going to be a good incoming tide bite. But even still with redfish, when the tide starts falling, a lot of those fish tend to congregate in slightly deeper areas on the flat, and that's where you can really get into them and catch a lot of fish. You know, a lot of it's not going to be so much sight fishing on a falling tide like we're doing out here. We've set up an area that I feel like the fish are gonna, you know, we got nice tall grass. All these fish are gonna get right down in this grass on the backs of these humps on these point flats, and they'll just lay there, and it is, you know, schools of alewives and glass minnows, and, you know, even pinfish. You know, anything that gets swept over those ridges, that's what those fish are going to be targeting. It's going to make an easy meal for them. They don't have to really go out and look for them too much. And it's the same way with the big redfish at the bridge. You know, you can go out there, if the water's not moving, you're just not going to catch fish. You're just not going to. The second that the tide starts moving and it starts falling and it starts bringing food from deeper into the bay, and it's all moving across certain areas where these fish are staging up at, that's whenever your good bite's gonna happen. And today for bait we're using this little alewives right here. It's just probably one of the best baits you can use in the bay as far as, you know, for catching just about anything out there. There's not a fish in the bay that won't eat that right there. Get out there and catch you some. I got bit off again. Cut me off at the leader. Throughout the day, every day, fish are going to eat at some point in time, even if it's, you know, a slow tide or neat. I mean, there's been days even on a neat tide where you only really have, you know, an inch or so of height change in the water. You know, I mean, some days you get out there, if the tide ain't been good for 3 or 4 days, and fish are still going to be hungry. And at some point in the day, they're going to eat. Whether or not you can figure out, you know, or be there when it happens, then come on.
Panama City living is simply better without glasses. The Eye Center of North Florida offers the most advanced surgeries, including lifestyle lens implants for cataract patients and custom view blade-free LASIK. Both procedures leave you with clear vision, and in most cases, glasses-free. The Eye Center of North Florida.
9 doctors, 1 vision, yours.
The Captain Anderson makes fishing a breeze. There's a galley on board, and your comfortable trip is all-inclusive. Rod, reel, tackle, bait, and your fishing license. The traditional all-day trip from 7 to 5 p.m. Come aboard the Captain Anderson for a relaxing day of bottom fishing. There's plenty of room, so bring the whole family. It's a whopping big adventure, and that's no fishtail. The Captain Anderson is located at Captain Anderson's Marina, where the fish are always biting and the kids are always smiling. Please call for cruise schedules.
Tip of the week this week is when we're using L-wise, you know, those little small yellow bait buckets, they do, you know, pretty good, but the volume of water that you need to have to keep, you know, a good amount of these baits alive, like what I like to do is I just like to take a 5-gallon bucket, and I probably got about 100 holes in here with a 1/2-inch bit, and all we do is take a little you know, a little cheap $1 noodle from the dollar store and stick it on the inside and put your lid back onto it and cut a hole out in the center, and that makes for a great bait bucket. And then I keep the flap and just tie it on. That way if I decide I want to use like mullet or something like that day, you can put them in here and just leave the flap closed, and then you're not going to have them jumping out on you. That's your tip of the week. Man, that is so stupid right there.
Oh my god.
Thought it was
I
gonna
don't
get
know
you,
what you
didn't
mean.
Come on, you stinking. These are the worst smelling fish on the planet.